Hey everybody, today's review is on another new movie this weekend, Black Bag. So the plot of this movie is this British intelligence agent named Catherine Woodhouse, played by Kate Blanchett, is suspected of betraying her own nation, and her husband, who's also a spy, George, played by Michael Fassbender, tries to stop her and tries to do the task of evading her out of Britain and getting her out of all the spy agencies, but he has a bunch of weaknesses. He has a very big weakness for his own wife, and he doesn't want to betray her trust and doesn't want to lose the only woman that's dear to him. So they go on a big adventure to see if they can trust each other and go through a lot of missions to see what this means for their agencies and what it means for their own nation in general. This was a pretty good film, actually. I thought this was a pretty neat idea. I mean, the idea is not very original. It's basically like a British version of Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I mean, yes, I know Kate Blanchett's Australian, but you get what I mean. But it was still a pretty good film. It's not very action oriented, but I don't think it really needed to be because I think this movie really works best because it's more about the actual thrills and the actual suspense and the drama. It's more of like a what's going to happen next kind of deal. Like there's not a lot of I mean, there's like an explosion here and there. Sometimes you see a stabbing or something, but like there's not a lot of action in it. But it didn't really need to be. I think the whole conflict between a married couple being opposing spies trying that are have to outdo each other is an interesting concept, even though like I said, it did happen in Mr. and Mrs. Smith, but at least it's something interesting. It's not like a traditional film about a typical married couple. It's kind of neat. I do like how when spy films do that sort of storyline where they're not just going after a typical bad guy or something. It's someone being forced against to go against someone they actually trust, and in this case, even the ultimate person they trust, their spouse. So it was a interesting idea, and it led to a lot of really good drama. And the chemistry between Michael Fassbender and Kate Blanchett are really, really good. I think they do really good with the whole spy personality, even though, like I said, there's not that much like hand to hand action, running away spy stuff. I mean, when that stuff is there, it is pretty good. There is a couple good moments and a couple good thrills where they go against some other people, but it's not really a lot in the film. Most of the time, they're just trying to sneak around, and there's a lot of tension and adventure, and it was good. There's a lot of really good spy stuff in there, and it's it's very it's a very good story that's very character driven. It's not really about the conflict and what it means for saving the entire world or something. Even though, okay, it kind of does, given it's about spies trying to outdo each other and trying to keep their whole country of Britain intact. But it's it's more about the relationship between the two main characters and where it all leads to. And I think that's a really neat, really good idea for a film. How about it not being a typical James Bond, like some guy wants to threaten the world or they have to deal with a terrorist or whatever. No, sometimes a more simple aspect of them just trying to follow each other around conspicuously without either of them being suspicious is kind of all you need. That's kind of um, a good conflict because you don't need like 50 characters to tell a conflict in a story. Sometimes it's just about the two people you're supposed to root for, and there's a lot of moments where you try to think, should I root for them? But both the characters are really good in a way where you want them to try and succeed. Like Kate Blanchett, like character, like yeah, her character is suspected of being a national enemy and betraying the whole intelligence agency. But she does have a really good character to her, and she does have a lot of likability to where you want to root for her. But Michael Fassbender also has that thing where he has a soft side for his wife, but he also has to pose against someone he holds dear, and he grows suspicious. Like even he kind of has to question some stuff. So I really do like stories where characters are supposed to question people they like, or even outright a married couple, people they love. So I think it's a very interesting and complex scenario that characters have to deal with instead of it just being a typical spy has to stop like a terrorist or something or other. Because yeah, that stuff's kind of been done sometimes stories about having no real villains. I mean, okay, I don't want to give too much away, but when I say that, like, the story isn't revolved around like you know how in a typical action movie or spy movie, there's one guy who's obviously from the bat you know it's the good guy, and from the bat you know this one's the villain. This one isn't like that. It's more focused on the two main characters, and there, like I said, there's not a lot of action. It's more about the drama and suspense and characters, but the suspense is really good. I was never bored during this film, so yeah, even though it didn't have a lot of action, I don't think it needed to. I think the whole mystery and suspense aspect to a spy film really kind of made it work. It shows you don't need a lot of explosions and chases to make this kind of film work. It does well good on its own. So, yeah, if you like, you know, thriller type suspense spy films, I think this is a good one to check out if you don't want, an effects heavy James Bond-esque spy movie and you want something a bit more quieter, I guess is the right word. I mean, there still is a bunch of thrills in this movie, but I'm not going to give anything away. But if you like a good amount of thrills and a good amount of knowing, not knowing what's going to happen, and a story about deciding who to trust, I think this is a fun film to check out. If you It's like I said, it's basically kind of like Mr. and Mrs. Smith. If you did like Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I think you'll like this one fine, even though I think it's still good to stand out on its own. So, yeah, Black Bag, I thought this was quite good. It was a good spy film with two very talented actors, and even though a lot of the characters weren't really the most intriguing. I think the two leads were really the show stealers. The others were just kind of there to support them. But even if some of the characters weren't strong aside from the two leads, I think the two leads make up the story very well. And I think they really pull off this whole spy story, and it makes for a lot of good thrills and a outright good time at the movies, even if it doesn't have a lot of action. I still think it's worth seeing on the big screen for just a fun, gripping spy thriller. Okay, the trailers I got before the movie were Warframe, which actually might be pretty good. I've actually gotten this trailer like once or twice, I think, earlier this year. It seems interesting. A film about the Iraq War, and it's written by an actual war veteran, it said. So that's interesting. That should be cool. And it's from the director of Civil War, Alex Garland. So, okay, I might have to think on this. I think maybe this might be good. I'm not one of those people who cry about historical accuracy because, well, I'm not trying to be insensitive to the world, but I'm not really a history nut, so I wouldn't really know all this kind of stuff. But I might see Warframe. I think it has potential to be interesting in the fact that if it's written by an actual veteran, I think it probably has the potential to feel real and you're feel like you get a better grip and a more explicit view of how war is like, given it's written by someone who actually lived through it. So I might keep this one in mind. 28 years later, I still haven't seen the other two. Weirdly enough, I probably gotta go out and find the DVD of 28 Days Later, because 28 Days Later is not available anywhere. I mean, I'm not one of those persons who like DVDs are outdated, streaming's better. No, streaming is not better. This kind of stuff is why streaming is not better. Heck, it's not even available digitally. Like, you can't even rent it. Like, I don't know why that is, but maybe I'll have to go out and buy the DVD sometime. But I haven't seen the 28 layer movies, but they seem interesting. I like zombie type films, so it's probably good. But yeah, if I end up like seeing those movies and liking them, maybe I'll check this one out. The Ballad of Wallace Island, which is some British film about, like, they're like musicians or something, or I don't know. It seemed all right. I don't know if it's something I'd see, but it's probably okay enough. I mean, it's a British film. British cinema is usually interesting at the very least, even if the film's not great. So I don't know if I'll see. Maybe if I'm bored, I'll check it out one day. But so far, nothing really grips me. But it doesn't look bad per se. It's just nothing really piques my interest. And I got Drop. I'm pretty interested in this one. It's a thriller about like these people get like an app and they see that everything's going wonky and there's some really messed up stuff happening. It's not a horror film though. It's like I know it's the trailer made it look like it was a horror film, and even it said from the director of Happy Death Day. I thought this was a horror film, but apparently I looked up it's an action thriller. I remember. See, sorry, I got a battery warning. Yeah, I think I saw this trailer before September 5th, I think, and I thought it was a horror film, but apparently it's just a thriller. But it looks interesting. I hope it's good. I don't know if it'll be good, but I'm actually pretty interested in this one. I think it could be interesting at the very least. So, yeah, Black Bag, it's definitely worth checking out. I mean, I would definitely recommend supporting The Day the Earth Blew Up this weekend, but if you if you've already seen The Day the Earth Blew Up or if you're just more in the mood for an action movie, Black Bag's a good one to check out this weekend. Well, before the weekend ends, that is. So, yeah, Black Bag, it's a good time if you like the spy genre, if you like the two main leads or just like a movie with a bunch of thrills. So, I definitely recommend it. It's a pretty good film, so take care everybody.